When we get up in the morning, along with coffee, toast, and cake. If you're like the old Stone Roadie, you like to wake and bake. Now let's join Craig, Reed, and Griff Martin as you head out on the road. So sit right back, buckle right in. It's a Wake and Bake Morning Show. It's a Wake and Bake Morning Show. It's a Wake and Bake Morning Show. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Time to rise and shine. I'm Shelby Barrett, the Stoned for the Stoned Roadie Show, and it's time to Wake and Bake with Craig Reed and Griff Martin.
Podcast number 156. Action. Alrighty then, looky here. It's Wednesday morning, April 17th. My name is Craig Reed, known as the world's most famous Stoned Roadie alive. Also known as, what else am I? Stone? Yeah, that's what I know. I'm known as Sorry We're Stoned. That's right.
Yeah.
And it's Wake and Bake, the Morning Buzz number 39. And well, what else we got going on this wonderful Wednesday morning there, Griff?
Well, we both have our cooey beads on to celebrate Jesus for Survivors. And
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we love Jesus for Survivors. He's such a cool guy, and he donated so much money and everything, and we appreciate him. He's a cool dude, man. He's just and so I saw my beads laying over there, and I was like, I'm gonna put my beads on. And Craig said, yeah, I'm gonna get my beads too. So we both have our beads on.
Yeah, I keep mine right yonder there. So there.
Yeah, I really don't know that much about them. Do you know much about them, Craig? What's the history on the
No,
beads?
they're just kukui nuts, and they're come from like the Hawaiian tradition, and they're supposedly worn by royal noble and royalty, and yeah, they're a symbol of knowledge. I guess if a male gives another male these kukui nuts, they're a symbol of knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Something
we
to
are
that effect.
we are disciples. You know, we
Yeah.
are chosen disciples.
That's right.
And when you getting that baptismal pond done, so we can
Oh God, that thing's just full of water. We've had a damn bunch of rain here, and it's going to take a while for that thing to dry out. It'll be a couple months probably. At least.
and who's the guy that where's the hat for the guy that's going to come over there and do the work?
Yeah, it's here. It fell down behind here. Yeah, Tom from Parsons Land Clearing and Services. Yeah,
Big shout out to Parsons Land Clearing and
Services. Yeah, I don't want to dig for that hat right now.
Well, you've got everything laid out there for our big drawing on Friday. Do you want to talk about that and show everybody what they're going to get and a little bit? I know that there was some people trying to sneak double names in there, and you caught them. See, you think Craig's not sharp, but he caught y'all trying to sneak a double.
Oh, I didn't catch all of them. Yeah, there was a few. I sent everybody a notification of what their number was, and a couple of them come back to me, and I saw I gave them two numbers, and then one guy told me, oh yeah, I kind of want to say that. Yeah, one guy, I gave him two numbers, and I gave him 17 and I gave him 77, and he told me, he goes, well, you can just keep 77. I went, wow, 77, that seems like a lucky number. You know, I didn't really recognize that when I gave it to him. But 77 seems like a lucky number. And I kind of noticed it because TP, like she's number 7. And she said, "Oh boy, lucky number 7," you know. So when he wanted to give 77 back, I was kind of curious as to why he'd do that. That seems like a lucky number, but he kept 17. But yeah, it'll be. I'm kind of curious as to how he'll do in these drawings. We got like 120 people in these drawings, and I've sent everybody their numbers. Mostly the ones that sent me an email, I was just able to respond back by email and give them their number, and really the only ones that I didn't weren't able to give them their number was actually ones that were from the last contest, and it was kind of up in the air, I guess, or whatever, whether I skipped over them or whatever. But yeah, there's just a few of those, and it's like Jim Jenkins, you're number 2. Jimmy J, you're number 3. Roy Cox, you're number 8. Amanda Harrier, you're number 9. Doug Moore, you're number 10. Pete Camino, you're number 11. Robert Lamb, you're number 12. Lisa Lamb, you're number 13. Alicia West, Jack's wife, you're number 15. I guess I should have caught that one. Chip Curry, you're number 22. Judy Longest, you're number 23. Paul Harvey, I thought you were dead. Number 25. Brian Madison, you're number 26. Jeff Auran, Arnon, you're number 27. Sandy Shepard, you're number 29. Linda Wright, you're number 36. Tim Manley, you're number 38. And yeah, I got all the rest of them. I was able to contact. So there you go. We're probably the only podcast ever that's had a giveaway, and we've everybody that sent in their application or whatever, or their thing, and people actually knew their number before the drawing.
Yeah, well, that's because we don't have a whole lot of followers yet. So if it gets, then when it's into the thousands, then it's going to be a little different. Then we'll have to figure something else out.
It wouldn't be feasible, but just so you know, you're going to keep this number, because we're going to keep doing these drawings, and so you now that you have your number, and from now on, when we do another drawing, we'll have new subscribers send in for a number, and then when you get your number, you'll keep that number. So we might be able to do it for a while if we can do it that way, and just because I think we're just gonna maybe have a surprise giveaway, maybe like every other show, or every show or something. Maybe we'll give away a sticker or guitar pick, or just something easy. That way everybody's going to have to watch the Stone Roadie show every week to see what we're going to give away.
And maybe if you're in the top 100, you'll have seniority over the other people.
But I don't think it matters what number you have, because you're going to go in this. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put them in a big tall mason jar, and it's one I can just barely get my hand in and out of. So it'll be like the claw, at the carnival, the claw drops down in, and I'll just grab the first one that I grab, and that'll be the number, So, but I don't think it'll matter what number you are, whether you're a high number or a low number, because I'm going to take that jar and shake it and shake it and shake it,
Yeah, so, it's not going to matter.
You're just a number in that jar, so it ought to be, it ought to be pretty equal, the way I got it figured, So
yeah, and you got all that stuff laid out on your desk there. You want to do a little show?
And yeah, oh yeah, and if you haven't gotten, if you check your email and you check your some of them I sent them Facebook Messenger, sent your number. If I didn't send you a number and you think you're in the contest, go ahead and hit me up at the Stoned Roadie, the Stoned Roadie at gmail.com. Don't forget the Stoned Roadie, because I am the one and only Stoned Roadie, so it's the Stoned Roadie at gmail.com. And send me an email. Tell me, hey, I should be in that drawing, and we'll just give you a number. And heck, what the heck? If you're just tuning in for the first time or whatever, we're not going to have that many, So, just write me an email there to that email address and say, hey, please add me, to this contest, and we'll add you to the Friday drawing. What the heck? We can do that.
And if somebody bought a sticker from you, they're automatically entered into the contest.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Somebody either sent me something to my post office box, or they bought a sticker. Yeah, if you bought a sticker, if anybody sent a donation or bought a sticker or sent any money, you should be automatically entered in this thing. And if you're not, you should be.
Yeah, show them, Craig. Show them the sticker that they get if they donate. Just show them that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Because that's a cool sticker.
Okay, and we had one while we're sitting on this subject, and we can get off the donations. We had one donation. John Philomena, John and Philomena Morrow. I'm sorry. Yeah, you sent in another $25, and you sent in $25 for a sticker before, and since I've been so behind schedule on sending out them stickers, if you send in $25 for one sticker, I'm gonna send you two.
Wow,
so
look at you.
Hopefully that'll make up for my my brain damage. I'm retired, and all this. You guys hit me with a lot of responsibility here all of a sudden.
Yeah, I keep bugging Craig about sending Shelby her coin.
Oh yeah, she won that coin on the last round. I still haven't sent it, but they threw me a curveball. I've had that thing all packed up and ready to go since that last drawing, but they threw me a curveball, and it didn't go to the one that sent in the application. She sent it in for Shelby, and then Shelby won it, and then I had to change the document of authenticity, and I wanted to, I'm a perfectionist. If I do something, I like to do it right, so I wanted to write her up a real nice document of authenticity, because that'll go on her wall forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
And she's young, so I want to make it special for her. So that's my excuse there, Shelby, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, it was her mother's friend that won it.
Yeah, and then
she gave it to Shelby,
and then gave it to Shelby. She entered for Shelby, and when she won it, she gave it to Shelby. But yeah, it kind of threw me a curveball, because then I had to change the document of authenticity and all that to the proper winner. So that's all that stacked there. And while we're at it, for all you people that might have tuned in for the very first time and don't know anything about this drawing that we're having, what we're giving away first of all is this. The Hell House painting that Griff painted.
Yeah, people don't know that I'm a accomplished painter.
Yeah, that Griff painted, and then he made he painted the painting there, and then he made these Hell House posters, and somebody wanted me to sign one, so I signed it over there. Oh, I got it covered up there. I signed it. You can see my signature there over in the corner. Griff is signed underneath it in red, and they wanted me to sign it in silver. So this is one that I didn't like my signature because I looped the D over onto the black part, and it wasn't perfect. So I did another one for him. But you can see what it looks like in silver, or when you win it, I can sign it in red. Or if you don't want me to sign it at all, which it wouldn't hurt my feelings, I don't want to deface it anyways. Griff signed it because he's the artist, so I don't have to sign it at all, but I'm just showing you what it would look like, and I can do it in red if you want.
And that poster, Craig, that poster is the exact size of an album.
Yeah.
So it'll go in an album frame. Yeah,
you can buy it off of Amazon. That's why I made them this size, so you can just buy the frame right off of Amazon, and it'll fit right in there, which was a pretty good idea. I guess it took a rocket scientist to figure that one out.
Yeah, even a stopwatch is right twice a day.
And then we got this picture here that Dave the Disciple sent me a bunch of these, and it's the band at the Fox, and this is me right here, and I can sign that right here above my head if you want, or I don't have to deface that either. Some people want me to sign them and some don't. It don't bother me, but I don't mind signing them. And here's the sticker we're talking about. It's a 4-inch sticker, and Clayton Johnson sent me those. And sent me 100 of them when we planned on selling them for $25 a piece and making 100 of them. That'd be $2,500 to donate to the Forgotten Survivors. But we haven't really set the world on fire selling them, so we have quite a few of them left. So yeah, if you bought one of them, I'm gonna go ahead and send you 2, since I've been so delinquent in my duties, is to send.
And Craig, also, those are new old stock. Those are
these are very old. Yeah, these are from 1987. They're he like I said before, he thought they were bumper stickers, which would have been weatherproof, but they weren't. So he just kind of threw them in his closet. And the Rossington Collins, this is a 3-inch sticker, and this one I guess could be a bumper sticker if you didn't leave it out in the elements too much, because it's kind of plastic. You can see it's kind of shiny. I actually did know somebody that stuck one of those in their car, and it held up pretty good.
Aren't those pretty old too?
Well, yeah, they're from 1983.
Okay. See,
and I personally think Rossington Collins is gonna make a comeback someday, someday soon, because, people often wondered if Ronnie could have made it without Gary and Alan. I sure do. And, after Ronnie was gone, I posted something today on where it was Rossington Collins played with ZZ Top, and it said, man, Rossington Collins stole the show, and that was with Dale Krantz Rossington was the singer, and she did a phenomenal job, and that was a good band, and I think maybe, in my opinion, they might make a comeback someday, and then we got the $1 million bills here. The Lynyrd Skynyrd $1 million bills, and like I said before, you want to display that with the front and the back. If you put it in a frame, front and the back, so I'm going to send you 2 of those so you can display both sides in a frame at the same time. And then cousin Figel sent me a bunch of kazoos, we're gonna. I'll send you a kazoo. It's a Horner kazoo, So it's a dandy, So there you go, and I'll sign that too if you want. But I'll sign it there on the back or whatever. But I'm not like you really want my signature, but some people do, because I am the most famous stoned roadie, that's for sure.
And then Craig's gonna give me the winner's address, and I'm gonna mail a Hell House sticker that it looks just like that painting, but it's gonna have Craig and Gene Odom's signature on there. So that's a nice little extra little thing that we're gonna throw in there too. So
yeah, we're gonna have the drawing Friday morning, and yeah, and then we'll get contact with the winner, and we'll find out if you want anything personalized or anything, and yeah, I'll have that stuff out, at least by Monday morning if we got all your stuff ready to go. I'll have all this stuff ready to go. I won't make you wait like I have Shelby, because there's no documents of authenticity going with this stuff. But
yeah, well, I mean, when you're dealing with a stoned roadie, the one thing about Craig is Lynyrd Skynyrd hired Craig because he's a functional stoned roadie, and he might not be as fast as he used to be when he was switching out guitars with Alan, but he will get the job done.
It's like I was telling Griff. I said, roadies. Well, they don't call themselves roadies anymore. They call themselves techs. But when I started with Foreigner in 1978, I think that's right around the time the roadies started calling themselves techs, because I think when I started with Journey in 1979, I had a business card, and as I recall, it said Guitar Tech on it. And then I remember in 1980 with Rossington Collins Band, and it was just me and Mike Sparks, and then that's when I kind of moved over into the management side of it with Larkin Collins, and Mikey Sparks became the guitar roadie, and then when he got his business cards and they said Guitar Tech on them, and I remember laughing at Mikey going, "Oh, you're a tech, are you?"
That's like a Walmart associate.
Yeah, you're not a roadie, huh? You're a tech, are you? Well, isn't that special? So, yeah, I always preferred roadie. I never took to tech. It just didn't appeal to me. I could have been a dental tech or a eyeglasses tech or whatever,
Well, I'm going to call myself a stoned roadie, podcast roadie, because I'm on the road with Griff Martin, so I'm a stoned roadie podcast roadie.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
an official roadie.
Podcast roadie, yeah.
A podcast roadie. I don't want to be a tech. Why would I want to be a tech? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Craig, we got a lot of good comments. If you want to go over these comments, I'm loving these comments. It's a lot of good jibber jabber, and people are starting to. We got like 180 comments on this last one, and although 50 of them were like Kimmy, we'll have to make a name up for Kimmy. Because we got a new guy, Wheelchair Chuck, I believe is his name, and that's kind of funny.
Yeah, I found his thing where he sent in for the drawing. He put Wheelchair Chuck. I think I wrote him a little note. Yeah.
I wonder if he'd be interested in a wheel off.
Yeah, I'll do wheelies with him. I'll match my skill in doing wheelies in a wheelchair with anybody.
We'll have to find out where he lives and see if we can get you guys together in a wheel off. And I'll videotape it, and then we'll put it on the podcast. That would be fun. A little interactive play with the podcast with the fans. That would be cool. Okay, well, we can go over these comments here, and we got quite a few of them, and I don't really have anything to put on the end. I don't want to do that every time, but I'll
People
dig
have
some
been
more
commenting
stuff out.
about those, how much information they've gotten out of those. I know I
Yeah.
certainly did. When I watched that one guy, it really struck home to how severe that plane crash was, 'cause
Yeah, I tell you, there's a lot of people that every day more and more skin information trickles in, and somebody was even saying how they prefer the podcast over the fan sites, which somebody might not agree with that because I'm sure the fan sites, they do have a lot of skin information, but they're not getting it directly from somebody who was there, like Craig Reed, the Stone Roadie, who was there at the beginning.
Yeah,
You know?
our disciple Dave, I noticed he didn't give it right in for a drawing number, so he'd been sending in a bunch of stuff, and I noticed he didn't write in for a number, so I gave him a number, and he goes, "Yeah, he just got back from the monument site out there with Mark Frank, and they had posted some pictures of being out there, and I guess while they." Like we said before, there's always people there at that monument site just stopping by. And when Mark Frank stopped by out there, he posted pictures of him with a whole bunch of people that had stopped in there while he was there. Yeah, it's a pretty active site out there. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
You never know who you're going to run into. I mean, Gene Odom goes out there a lot. And then, of course, Dwayne Easley's always out there. And Brenda goes out there every morning. Brenda Martin, that was the house that Artimus and Kenny Peden and Mark Frank went to. And, she was the part of the story. So there's some cool people out there, and it's also a really nice place to visit. I like it out there. It's very peaceful.
yeah, it's real clean. They keep it very well manicured. It's well taken care of.
Yeah, there was actually some Civil War action out there, around that area. There was some battles, and there was a bridge out there that had a famous battle. So there's some stuff out there that's related to the Civil War. I was talking to Dwayne about hooking me up and Ricky Wascom because little shout out to a guy. If anybody's interested in Civil War stuff, you got to check out the Aqua Chigger on YouTube. That guy, he's like, I'm a huge fan of that guy. He is really very smart and a lot of information about Civil War, and he digs belt buckles and swords and muskets and mini balls and all kinds of cool stuff. The Aqua Chigger, check out him on YouTube. I actually had a little bit of correspondence with him, and that's a really great YouTube channel, the Aqua Chigger.
All right. Now, since you mentioned the Civil War, I had this package that I got yesterday from my post office box from Ronnie Drumright, and I mentioned one time where I used one of my hobbies was shooting my bow and arrow, and he wrote me and asked me if I was into making arrows. I go, well, God, I haven't made any arrows since I was probably in my teens when I first started, or young kid, when I first started shooting bow and arrow. I made my own arrows. I went and,
You mean napping? Talking about the stone part of it, or
the arrowheads. Yeah,
really?
Arrowheads. Yeah, he sent me a whole bags full of arrowheads. I don't know where he gets. Yeah, but asked me. I said, yeah, man, send me some. I'll make some from arrows. I won't shoot them. I'll make them for just display. But yeah, I'll make some arrows.
And speaking
he sent me bags full of them, and he sent me a bunch of Donald Trump gold coins, and he sent me all kind of just great big package of stuff he sent me today. Yeah.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, this whole package is full of stuff he sent me.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's,
While I was at the post office, I ran into one of my old girlfriends. Too.
yeah, that's
We
funny.
won't talk about that.
Yeah, you know, I get to hear a lot of cool stuff when we're not live, you know, and Craig, if you guys could hear the stuff that we don't record, that would be another podcast. I try to get Craig to hit record and then we just edit it out, but I don't think he wants anybody to hear some of the stuff he talks about. That is a really good podcast, the stuff that you don't hear.
Yeah, I told the post. She walked in, and I told the post office lady. I said, "Oh my God, me and this girl used to date right after high school." And then she said, "Yeah, he used to be good looking back then." That was funny.
Oh yeah, and we ain't gonna say anything else about that. But speaking about those arrowheads, Craig, I got a little bit of a story about that because I had a wife one time, and she was a vegetarian, and let's just call her the good doctor. But and so she was like, humans aren't supposed to eat meat, and so she talked me into going into a vegetarian diet for a little while, like about 3 years. I started getting weak, and finally I broke down, started eating meat. And then one day I found this arrowhead and I go, you know what? This proves right here an arrowhead. That means that, 3,000 years ago when they were making those things, I guess they were even longer than that, they weren't shooting an ear of corn with it, So
Yeah.
So I have to say, that's proof right there that vegetarian for humans is kind of like bullshit. Anybody want to argue
Yeah.
with me about that? Leave it in the comments and
Well, you can't grow stuff in the ground all year long. Even in Ohio, there's only, the
Yeah.
stuff you grow in the ground is only lasts, heck, it only lasts a couple months and then it rots. You got to find a way to store it, so.
And I also don't think that humans were supposed to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I think you're supposed to be like a forager. You're supposed to chase a squirrel and hit it with a rock and climb up a tree and snag a bird, and you got to work for that, and then sometimes you're gonna be on a fast because you can't find anything. So
Well, up until refrigeration, you ate for breakfast leftovers from dinner,
yeah, now everybody that gets up and I got to have breakfast, and then it's noon, it's time to eat a sandwich, and I don't think it was supposed to work that way, but we turned it. The evil government has turned it into that, I would have to say. But,
Yeah, they turned that food pyramid upside down on purpose to make everybody fat.
Yeah, so they could make sure that they're fat and sick, so they can
Oh yeah, so
sell you some medicine.
And
And then whenever you go, you know what, I can make it till 68, and then if I wait till I'm 68, I'll get full Social Security, and then they hope you die so they can keep it. So not me though. I filed as soon as I turned 62. So that's I think that's the best plan unless you're like Craig, everybody in his family lives to be 100. So. You
90
started
anyways. Yeah.
You started Social Security at 62, didn't you, Craig?
God, I retired when I was in 2006, so I was 55.
But you would part-time go back and
I worked part-time for the stagehand union, but yeah, I retired from the road when I was 55.
Yeah, and then you had that fuselage in the barn you were selling parts
Yeah,
off of.
selling airplane parts, yeah.
Yeah, that damn Gene Odom, I think he's the one that made that up.
The only airplane parts I've ever sold were stuff that Mark Frank sent me.
Yeah.
to those guitar picks, and
Yeah, you don't have
that's
any
the only
airplane
that's
parts.
the only thing I've ever had, really.
The stuff you sell is stuff that you had on the plane.
Yeah, I don't
It's-
have any. I don't have any actual pieces of the plane, but I was sure accused of selling pieces of the plane.
Well, most people get a U-Haul, and when they get divorced to Craig, he loaded it all on the plane in suitcases. You had about seven.
Well, I loaded
suitcases.
anything I knew I wanted to keep. I took with me because I knew it would be gone by the time I got home. And when I got home, everything that I had left there was gone.
And you had a whole case of like slides that you just ordered for
Yeah,
Steve and
those
Gary.
were up in Greenville. Yeah, yeah.
And see, Craig was selling those slides on eBay, and then this one individual who's our nemesis was accusing Craig, "Oh, how many slides you think you had on that plane?" Well, you happen to have a whole damn box of them.
Well, Gary used to throw one at me every night, and during Freebird, and I just would stick it in my pocket. And the majority of the time, it would end up with me back at the hotel. I just threw it in my suitcase, So I had a lot of that stuff. Plus, I would just keep it and trade slides and sticks and picks and everything I could for drugs.
Yeah, and just think of all the strings that you changed and threw in the trash. If you had Gary Rossington's strings that he played at like Nebworth or anywhere, or Alan Collins strings, those things would be worth a fortune now.
Oh yeah.
So,
But yeah, those picks and slides and drumsticks and all that stuff, they were always worth money. Set lists and all that shit was worth money. I could trade for drugs.
Now he puts them on eBay, and he makes a nice little living. So it's been a while since
I haven't sold any. I haven't been selling anything on eBay since we've been.
Which reminds me, we're gonna put that
months
that
ago.
that Dobro up here pretty soon.
Oh yeah, I had somebody asking me how much I thought that was going to sell for. And I thought I didn't have any idea. We would. Aren't we going to try to do that here on the podcast here?
We could work something out like that. See if we could do.
Oh,
that.
and while we're at it, I forget their name, but those magazines I showed the other day, the one that said remembering Ronnie Van Zant.
Yeah.
Somebody offered me $80 for that.
Cool.
So I accepted that offer. That's the same person that sent me the. Oh God, where is it? It's there somewhere. Oh, I ain't gonna look for. Oh, here it is. Oh, same person that sent me the ashtray.
Oh wow, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, my green screens. Yeah, that's a cool ashtray. I don't want to use it because I don't want to mess it up. Yeah, but they want to buy the. I think that's the same person. God, I don't know.
Well, you maybe one of the next podcasts you can hold those things up again. I forget what podcast it was that we were on that you showed them all, but there was a lot of cool stuff in there.
Yeah, a bunch of just memorabilia stuff from Circus Magazine and just all kind of stuff.
Yeah, and Ricky Wascom bought that stuff back there, and the reason I haven't sent it yet is because I'm looking for some cardboard. I got to go get some cardboard so I can box that stuff up. So Ricky, that's what I'm gonna start. I got to go somewhere, maybe Appliance Direct, and see if I can't dig in the trash and get some cardboard. Because Craig and I, man, when I know Craig when I first met him, and we had a friend named Kathy Terrio, and she'd say, oh, yeah, she'd call me and she'd go, Craig's all pissed off because it's Boxing Day. I think you had like Sunday, your eBay stuff would go up, and then you had a day you had to box it all up and send it off.
Yeah,
And,
ship it out. Yeah, I hate shipping.
yeah.
As
That's
you
why
can tell.
that's why nobody's gotten their stuff yet. So
Oh God, I hate shipping. Yeah.
yeah. All right, let's move on to these comments here. You had somebody commented about that when we were talking about was JoJo seeing any other people in the bands, and Craig was like, "Well, I'm not going to touch that." And this person mentioned Sally Arnold in her book tells how Ronnie tried to sleep with her. I guess I haven't read her book, but
Yeah, that's
and
when
then,
Kathy Godzi told me that. Kathy Godzi read the book. Yeah, she said it's a good book. Yeah.
and then said also how some of the band members tried to sleep with someone from Peter Rudge's office. So they were a bunch of those guys were a bunch of horny dudes, man. And then there's that if anybody was listening to Kent Griffith's story at the end of the podcast, I think it was like 20 minutes. Jeff says, "Great story, Kent. What was the date Ronnie caught that bass?" And I could not tell you. I could ask Gene. I don't know if Gene's going to remember the date, but I think it was 1977, because as Kent said in the story that he sent it to the taxidermist and he never got it back before the plane crash. So he never got to get his bass back. And I think,
Well, I disagree with that. I saw that bass hanging on the fireplace.
did you? Okay.
Ronnie was standing in front of that bass that was on his fireplace, and he had the old
That's
gun.
right. That's right.
That
I
old
wonder if that's the
gun,
same
yeah.
bass. You think that's the same bass?
That was a pretty big bass. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Kent, check that out, man. That might be a
Yeah,
fallacy
Ronnie
in
had
the
that old
story.
flintlock, and then I thought that was that trophy bass hanging there along with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to get Gene to
I think he got
talk
that
about
bass
that.
right before the plane crash, because
Yeah.
that was right. That was right. That was during that Time magazine article when he had his picture taken with that 54 Mercedes Cabriolet that Alan had, and then Gary got it off Alan's estate. After Alan died, he got that Mercedes Cabriolet off of.
In that picture with was he watching TV and it was a boxing match or something? Seemed like I saw a picture of Ronnie watching TV in his living room there, and I think it was a boxing match. Yeah, you guys, just let us know in the comments. That's what's great about, being able to comment is you can straighten Craig and I out, because like that one guy knows, I know, I'm smarter than Craig, but we both know the same, which is very little. As a matter of fact,
Craig
that's in
don't
the
know nothing,
comments.
and Griff knows less, or something like that.
Yeah, he straightened us out in here in these
Yeah,
comments. I'll read it back. Okay, so let me see here. This guy says, Craig, you need to put 2 pot leaves on each door on your car, and then below it put "Stoned Roadie."
Yeah.
I don't think he needs any more help getting pulled over by the police.
No,
Yeah, 'cause I remember I was in Craig's car with him, and we were riding. God, where the heck were we? We were downtown Cincinnati or something, and Craig was flying about 90 miles an hour. And I said, Craig, there's a cop coming, and he was burning a joint. And that cop flew, and I go, oh man, I think that's it. We're getting it. And that cop flew around us and went around us. So yeah, he doesn't need it. Yeah, he
Yeah, even though I know the sheriff here, I don't want to push it.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. This one person says, I guess Johnny Mote would have had to commit suicide if divorce wasn't an option. Talking about Brenda Martin. Yeah, Brenda, she said at the time of that plane crash, she was pregnant. And she said, I said, well, did you go to the plane crash? She goes, no, I was pregnant and I didn't want the plane to blow up. She's something else. Okay, let me see. Griff mentioned man buns. I think these guys nowadays with the man buns, they need purses and pink hair. They're starting to get, if you look at Facebook, man, these ladies now, I think the roles have switched. I mean, these men are becoming sissies. Now, there's some of them out there I wouldn't want, because I got in a fight one time with a sissy, and I'd never had my ass beat worse in my life than by a sissy. I mean, and then I remember my brother got in a fight with him, and he went home with 2 black eyes, and my dad told him, "You go back and you fight him, or I'm going to beat you up." And my dad goes, "I'd rather you beat me up, Dad, because I ain't fighting him again." Okay, let me see here. This guy mentions a guy, Peter Moose Orekanto, was a Kiss roadie in the early mid-'70s. He set up an effect for Peter Criss. He would hold up 2 tubes, a tube in each hand, and an explosion would come out. And he said once he got injured pretty bad from it. He says, ask Craig, does he know about that?
No.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. So a guy named, I'm probably butchering that last name, the roadie, his name is Peter Moose Orekanto or something like that. Kiss roadie in the mid-'70s. Then somebody asked, what happened to the Saturday night special with Kathy Godsey?
Oh, I had the dates mixed up. That's supposed to be this coming Saturday, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, 'cause she can't do it every Saturday. She's got to grade paper sometime. She's a school teacher. But yeah,
I emailed it. I messaged her. I said, "You ready for tomorrow?" And she goes, double question mark. I said, "Don't we have a podcast tomorrow?" And she goes, "Not tomorrow."
And then Craig was kind of like goody because he gets a little burned out on these podcasts. When I called in sick that one day, I go, "Craig, I ain't going to be able to do the podcast." He goes, "Oh darn."
We do a lot of these things, man. Kind of, it's like, it's kind of
like a job.
What the hell are we going to talk about? That's why I'm glad we ask, people ask us questions. I'd run out of
things. It's good that you guys ask
questions. People don't want us to talk about anything but skin formation. That's all they want to hear. They don't want to talk. They don't want to hear anything about them being fat or them being Democrats.
Yeah, but every now and then we do venture into that area. we get, and that's what somebody said in here, another comment about we tell it like it is. This one person asked, Griff, what was the coolest thing you saw working for NASA? Yeah, I had to, think about that for a minute. I have to say, I saw 4 rockets explode. Now these were unmanned rockets, but that's like one of the coolest things I've ever seen is a rocket blow up. It's like a out there they had several. They had Delta rockets, Titan rockets, and various different kinds of rockets. But it's one of those things that when they blow up, there's a lot of toxic fuels that could kill you, like nitrogen tetroxide and oxygen, oxygen and helium and all that stuff floating down And you know, they want you to get in an air conditioned room, but you're so enamored with the explosion that you just kind of like want to sit there and stare at it. So that's probably, I'd say, the coolest thing. I didn't think it was cool when I watched uh, when I saw the Challenger blow up. I was working for Grumman in St. Augustine, and I actually got to see that blow up, but that wasn't very cool watching people blow up in that. And then a couple other things that I thought was pretty cool is I got to sit in Columbia in the pilot seat with it poised at the pad. You know, I got to actually, it's like a few days before launch, sit in the space shuttle cockpit, and a friend of mine, and he was a closeout guy, and I got to push all the buttons on the, you know, on the console and move the stick around. So that was cool. And then I worked on 4 major motion pictures. I got to meet, I'd say the coolest people I met was probably Clint Eastwood, Tommy Lee Jones, James Garner, and Donald Sutherland, working on Space Cowboys. I was in an elevator with them, and I was a little bit starstruck on that one. So that was kind of weird because I grew up watching those guys in all those cool movies. So yeah, I had a lot of fun out there working for NASA. It wasn't all fun though, but there's some of that stuff was pretty grueling, a lot of hours. And then we go here, Craig. What's your favorite memory or story of Alan? He says, I'm sure there's many, but what would be your favorite memory of Alan Collins?
Oh God. Me and him are going down. We were going down to Miami in my that white Oldsmobile back there in the field, and I was driving, and Alan he got in the glove compartment, and he was organizing the glove compartment, and putting everything exactly where it went. Well, we were the door was down, and we had the whole glove compartment lined up with lines of cocaine. and he was in there, and we had a big pile of coke on there, and then had lines lined up on the old door, and Alan was in there organizing the glove compartment. And he finally got it organized like he wanted, and he went, yeah, and took the glove compartment door and flipped it up like that, and all this cocaine just went flying everywhere.
He didn't mean to hit it, right?
No, he looked at me, he goes, did you see what I just did? And I went, yeah, Alan. He said, that's all right. And he touched his pocket, and he said, we got plenty more. He pulled out a big old bag and dumped it, pulled the door down, and dumped it out again. That's all right. We got plenty more.
See, I haven't heard that story before.
I don't know why I just thought of that when you asked me that.
It didn't piss him off a bit, huh?
Oh, no.
That'd piss off the normal broke drug addict.
Oh, God. We'd be standing in people's kitchen cooking up a big thing of freebase, man, and Alan would be in there, and he'd have this big old bag of Coke, and he'd be spilling it all over the floor, and people, whoever house we were in, would be down on the floor trying to scrape it all up, and Alan would be kicking it with his foot, and he'd go, that's just floor scrapings, and they'd be trying to kick it all up.
That was a crazy son of a bitch.
Oh, God, yeah.
But you didn't want to be in the room with him when he had that BB gun out.
No.
And he did that a lot. He did that BB gun thing a lot.
Oh,
Just
God,
about
yeah.
everybody I've interviewed and met said that when Alan got that BB gun out, people started running.
Yeah,
He would pop you in the eye with it, you know?
Doing a podcast, Kathy. I'll call you back.
Oh, Alan Collins. What a nut, Alan Collins. And this Edward here says he likes the podcast because we say what we think, and he respects that. Which, yeah, Craig just told a story about some crazy shit, and he doesn't care if anybody doesn't like it. So, yeah, well, thank you, Edward. We kind of really don't care, do we, Craig?
I was telling somebody, I think it was me when automotive was here the other day. I was telling him, that I've never really had a job where I couldn't be myself, where
Yeah.
where a lot of people they live their life and they can't really, act like themselves. They have to act like somebody else just to be a part of society. And I've never had to do that. I just always, I just whatever, I'm not afraid, ashamed of
That's like
anything
I
I
was
ever
talking
did.
to Anna Ethington, and she runs that Southern fans of Southern rock page, and when we were talking about how some of the people on the I guess that page of hers, they don't like Craig's fat shaming and things like that, and I said, well, what they don't realize is Craig is exactly what those guys in the band were. That they liked Craig because Craig was them. So if you don't like Craig, you don't like Lynyrd Skynyrd. So that's the way I look at it. That's why they kept those guys. Those guys kept Craig around because he was not only working for the band, but he was their friend and they liked Craig. And so you guys don't like Craig and the things Craig does, then you don't like Lynyrd Skynyrd. So
Well, I always say that, I used to be obese. I went most of my whole life, and I was always in pretty good shape. And then there was a period in my life where I actually got obese. I was 80 pounds overweight, and I just woke up one day and I go, I was 65 years old before I caught myself. I'm almost 63 or 64. And I woke up, I said, man, I can't live the rest of my life like this. So I fixed it, so.
well, didn't you say you had a friend and that you was at some party or something and he was a big fat guy and
Well,
he
yeah,
goes
he'd been my friend forever. We grew up together, and I had already, I was working with a friend of mine who died from obesity, and I was working with him, taking him to do aquanics because he was so fat he couldn't really do anything but get in the water and try to work it off. So, I had already put it in my head where I was gonna lose weight, and he just commented that I was gonna be 250 before he was, and he'd bet me $100, and I just said no. I said I'm not even gonna take your money because I've already committed myself to lose this weight, so I'm not even gonna to take your money because I'm gonna do it. And shoot, it wasn't no time after that I lost all that weight, and he's still fat. But he's trying, but he just likes to eat. People like to eat. I mean, I like good food, but you just have to control yourself. I eat anything that I want to eat. I just don't eat a lot of it.
well, you
I mean,
probably had also when you lost all that weight, Craig, I think you had a little bit of an incentive too. You were going through a divorce at the time. So, there's
well,
nothing
that's
like,
true.
yeah, when you're going through a divorce, that's the best diet in the world. I've seen some really big people, and I'd be, hey, man, how you losing all that weight? I'm going through a divorce now, that'll shut down that hunger. That's but I know one guy, what was it, Otto? I think he said he gained weight. But
A lot
yes,
of people, they go through life and they can't really afford uh, good food, and once they can, they overtreat themselves. They overindulge. I mean, they go out to eat and they eat all this real rich food and stuff, and they eat all the time, and then they think they're treating themselves. They're treating themselves to an early grave is all they're treating themselves.
Yeah, and see, Craig, he can keep his weight down by fat shaming. So you can't go around criticizing fat people if you're fat. So
I'm not perfect. I still do a lot of bad things. I still party like a rock star on occasion, and I'm getting too old for that shit. But at least I'm not fat.
Yeah, I think I need to drop another 10 and I'll be good. But Craig's telling me
I'm not skinny. I'm right at 165, and I don't eat a lot, and I'm stuck right there at 165. That's just where my body likes to be. I like to be under 160, but it's hard for me to. I can stay about 165 really easy, but it's really hard for me to to maintain under 160.
Yeah, and just so you know, like if you go to an event that we have and Craig's there and you see him, don't be afraid to come up to him because he's not going to call you a fat ass to your face. He's going to wait till you leave.
Yeah.
He's not going to go, "Oh, hey, fat ass." No, he's not like that. He waits till you leave and then he'll go, "Did you see that fat son of a bitch?" And he doesn't discriminate. He'll call his own son fat.
I do, yeah.
It's not like
but he's trying. But he blames it on injuries, his neck and stuff. He's he can't exercise like he used to. There's always an excuse,
Yeah, like your thyroid. Yeah, some people really do have a thyroid problem, but Craig, if you guys aren't friends with Craig on Facebook, it's that's how I found out, who Craig was. Joe Crimp told me, he goes, because there were these fat girls out there dancing, and I go, well, I said, he goes, boy, Craig Reed would like those girls, and that's when he said, and I said, who's Craig Reed? And I didn't realize that he was the Stoned Roadie and the roadie for Lynyrd Skynyrd. So anyway, moving along out of the fat subject, which actually I don't discriminate because I kind of like I like a little bit of a chunky girl. I don't like them emaciated, but I like one that's got a little bit of on the
closer to the bone, the sweeter the meat.
So anyway, but don't think I don't like fat. No, I just like curvy. But curvy and fat, women get that mixed up. They like to call themselves curvy and they're really fat. So there's a difference between curvy and fat. But anyway, off of that subject there. So Kimmy says she's going to check out that Wikipedia thing. Yeah, Kimmy, check that out. We're going to assign you to Wikipedia. You are assigned to see if you can get information about the Wikipedia. That's your project. And you can write us back in the comments about that in capital letters if you don't mind. Yeah, and here's a wheelchair.
There's the roll. That's the roll of tickets there, right there. So you can.
Are you going to write the numbers on them?
No, the numbers are already on them.
Oh, okay.
So, they come all numbered. So, they're all not just one number. They're all different numbers.
That's going to be horrible. You said you were going to put Dave the Disciple in there. What happens if he wins it? That's going to look bad.
Oh God, yeah.
Because that's kind of like what happens.
Well, yeah. Well, I've already said, talked about number 77, well, that would have been my number. I would have chose, I hate to see if 77 wins or.
Yeah, you got to be careful what you're talking
TP
about.
number 7. So I'm not, I could be like, a soothsayer. I can, be able to pick what number's going to win. So,
Yeah, because that was terrible when we were at the monument and Brandon Miller was giving away that guitar. And Otto,
Oh
he's kind of
God,
like
that was something else.
a guy, a character on our podcast, and then Craig pulls it out there, and it's automotive. I'm like,
God, yeah, that was
that looked
something
rigged,
else.
but it wasn't rigged. It was real. It
And
was,
then Shelby wins the coin, but she didn't
yeah.
really win it. Her mom's friend won it and gave it to
Yeah.
Shelby.
So
But
this is going
yeah,
to be interesting coming up here.
yeah, really. But there's twice as many people in this one.
Yeah, there's less of a
There was only
chance.
like 658 or so people in the last one. There's 120 in this one. Yeah, so
Yeah.
far.
And back to the comments, wheelchair Chuck. See, Ronnie must have been pissed off with JoJo. He seemed to be a pretty tight fellow with what she says to be a pretty tight fella with the yellow-haired fella. Yeah, wheelchair Chuck. Yeah, he's kind of like a new character in our comments here. We like wheelchair Chuck. Yeah, I don't know. You think Ronnie was tight with JoJo?
Ronnie really liked JoJo. He appreciated, JoJo, her flamboyancy.
I asked Leslie about.
She was a showman. She was an eyeful up on the stage. She was a showman.
I asked Leslie Hawkins about JoJo because she's in an interview said that Ronnie didn't even have to hear her sing before he hired her, and Leslie said that's not true. He did listen to her sing, so it wasn't like she just was hired. I mean, yeah, she had to have, and I imagine she was a good singer. I mean, Ronnie is not going to have somebody on that's not a good singer, and I think she sang a lot with Ronnie because she had that lower voice, and Leslie was the high voice, and I think Cassie was the mid range.
Well, Alan liked JoJo's singing. He thought she was a wailing bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and she was a crazy one too, so her and Alan got along really well because they were both crazy as hell. So let me see here. Okay, here it is, Craig. The his name's User. That's his email. He says, "Wrong again, Craig. I said Griff is the smart one, knows as much as you about Skynyrd, which is very little."
Okay, there we go. He straightened us out again.
But he's the one that came up with it, so
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And then this guy, James Husky, says the last 20 minutes of the last podcast is 20 minutes I'll never get back in my life of my life. He goes, if you put that guy up again, I'm going to dip out. Well, there's a button on there that you can click it, and you don't have to listen to it. So,
Oh, what your addition guy?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
he didn't like the Kent Griffith story, but hey, Kent Griffith, man, that guy, he's the guy who gave us all of the Mike O'Hara audios, and he's the guy that gave me this whole stack of discs. So we don't want to piss off Kent Griffith, man. He's I thought it was a great story.
That's funny. I was just thinking today what format we got to use to try to get some more subscribers. But a lot of people just want skin information, so we got to start off the show and just get right into the question and answer, and then we can do the jibber jabber and the donations and stuff at the end. So. That way, if all they wanted is the skin formation, they can, after we get done with the skin formation, we could go, okay, we're going to get into the jibber jabber, and then you can just go watch something else or whatever.
Well, you do have a right to comment. If you don't like something, that's okay. That's what the comments are for you, but it doesn't mean we're going to agree with you.
We can't please everybody,
Nah.
There's a lot of people. I was going all that mail I was going through looking for all this stuff for these drawings, and everybody's got out. I watch every one of you guys' podcasts. You guys are great. You guys are funny. Appreciate what you're doing. Blah blah blah. I never run across any bad ones.
I don't think. I mean, somebody might do it now, but I've never seen a thumbs down. Now, somebody will probably go, "Oh, okay. Well, we'll take care of that." But I've never seen a thumbs down. I think you guys are being real nice, so we appreciate that. And let me see here. Brian Gibbons. Let me see.
That's our friend Brian that lost all the weight.
Yeah, I think he had like some kind of a neck surgery or something.
I talked to him today. Yeah,
he's been through hell, man.
He had to have like a bunch of plates or discs or something, and screws and all. He just had a surgery, and they went back to another doctor, and the doctor said, "Well, why didn't he do this other procedure?" And so they had to go back and redo it. And then he said he tripped and fell and thought he broke his elbow, and it turned out to be his upper arm, and now it's in his shoulder and stuff.
Man.
Yeah, he's a big guy, so when he falls, he hits hard.
Yeah, he's got that Alan Collins luck. But he says the thing that makes him feel close to Ronnie, which it has to do with that story that Kent Griffith told, that was about what makes you feel close to Ronnie, and that was the map out to the Ronnie's fishing hole. And he says what makes him feel close to Ronnie is knowing Craig, which you can't get any closer than that,
Well, I only knew Ronnie for 3.5, almost 4 years, but we became pretty close,
Yeah, but it was like eat, drink, and sleep with Ronnie.
Yeah, we kind of lived together for 4 years, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, that's, pretty close. And then he also says, Craig is the Forrest Gump of rock and roll. And he wants to know, how did you manage to get into Ringo Starr's house?
I think we were up in Beverly Hills, and I think I'm pretty sure, from what I remember, we were actually with Al Cooper, and he just pulled into his driveway and said, "We're going to go see Ringo." That's kind of what I remember, And we were just up in Beverly Hills, and I think we were with Al Cooper, and I don't remember why we were there or nothing, but we pulled into Ringo's and went in. And we weren't there long. We just kind of went in and said, "Hey," and I think we were imposing or whatever. I don't think we were expected, but I don't know. Yeah, I believe we were with Al Cooper, and we just kind of stopped in for a minute.
Yeah, at the time, he didn't realize, he didn't savor it like he should have, I mean, you're in Ringo's house, and, I would be like looking around and just doing a mental, I would be going, I can't believe I'd be pinching myself going, I'm in Ringo's house.
God, we were meeting all these people, we were in Hollywood, out in Beverly Hills. We were meeting all these people, man. It was like, everywhere you went, you were meeting somebody. I was at the Hamburger Hamlet and went in the bathroom taking a piss and met some actor in there, Peter. Oh, what was his name? The guy that played in the Seven Faces of Dr. Lau. I don't remember why I can't remember his name, but. Yeah, I was, took a pee beside him.
You probably met a lot of people that that you just can't remember even,
Oh my God, yeah. When we were at that Continental Hyatt house there in Hollywood on Sunset Strip, there was all kind of actors and stuff coming up in there. I only met half of them, probably. I don't know.
Plus, you were doing a lot of drugs.
Yeah, not a lot, but a few. All I could get a hold of.
And then we have Joe Mueller. He says he works on cars and he considers himself a grease monkey. He said nowadays these mechanics want to be called auto techs, which so he's got the same thing going on as you. He don't like to be called a tech either.
Oh yeah, he comments on my Facebook stuff. We talk back and forth. He's thinking about getting into flight simulator stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool hobby to get into.
Matter of fact, he wrote me and asked me if I had his name down on the. I had to talk to him about his number, his drawing number yesterday. Yeah.
Then Joseph asks, "Is Mike O'Hara still alive?" I asked Kent Griffith about that, and he says he kind of disappeared. He don't know what happened to him. Somebody said he was dead, but I don't know how he knows that. If the person that said he's dead knows how he died, let us know. Yeah, that'd be kind of sad because I mean, if he was working on a thesis. And wasn't that, I think those interviews were like in the 90s even, and he wouldn't be that old. So, yeah, I don't know. And this one guy, Tim Fawcett asks, have you seen, this is off a Facebook question somebody sent me. Have you seen the guy on YouTube that claims he has Ronnie's fishing reel? I guess there's a YouTube out there and the guy claims he's got Ronnie's fishing reel and he says, Lacey bought it for Ronnie when he was like 7 or 8. I'll have to Google that and see if I can find that. And if I can get in touch with that guy, I'll see if we can get him on the podcast and see how he got Ronnie's fishing reel. Because
that would be weird. That would be very weird how he would get it. But,
that's like that hat on that Pawn Stars that,
Yeah.
Craig says that's a phony.
Well, Ronnie never had his name in any of his hats.
And you took care of his hats. You ordered his hats. So
yeah.
Then you steamed them and brushed them?
No. I'm the one that set up the deal with Texas Hatters and Charlie One Horse I forget who the original people were now, for sure. But I'm the one that set that up. That's why I only acquired three hats for Ronnie that I remember. But somebody the other day said that, Steve Lawler said that because he knew Robert Delgado, and he said that Robert Delgado kind of was doing Ronnie's hats at that part of the thing, which I don't remember. It could have been true. I don't remember. I just remember when it first went down, I was the one that was doing it, but I don't remember Ronnie's name ever being in any of the hats because, I was always pretty close to that realm of the situation.
One thing about Ronnie's hats is I see a lot of guys, wear a hat, because they like the way Ronnie Van Zant's hat looks and they go get them a hat. Nobody wears that hat like Ronnie Van Zant wears.
That hat doesn't fit a lot of people like it, it doesn't.
Yeah, that
hat looks good on Donnie, Ronnie's brother. It looks okay on him, but a lot of people that hat doesn't do justice. I had one of them. It didn't look good on me. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie, he just, that hat was made for him. That's a signature of Ronnie Van Zant for sure. And I remember seeing, I think it was 74, and I forget where he was. He didn't have the hat yet, and he kind of needed that hat. Ronnie had kind of a weird head, I mean, it was like, he was losing a hat head.
Yeah, he was losing his hair. Yeah.
It was a hat head.
Johnny's still got a full head of hair,
Yeah, and so does Donnie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Johnny said that he's not going to wear a Ronnie Van Zant hat. He's not trying to be Ronnie Van Zant. He's not going to go on stage barefooted. He's not going to wear his hat, and he's got his own thing going on. So, okay, so let's go into this. Is the last question here. Cindy Hudson, this is another Facebook question. Somebody messaged me, says that we mentioned about selling memorabilia on eBay, and she asks if she finds something cool on eBay, can she donate it for the survivors? If you've got extra money laying around that you don't mind doing that, I mean, like Craig says, people, if times are hard, and unless you can afford to do something like that, don't do it, but if you can afford to do it and you feel like, that that's something that you are inclined to do, you want to donate something to the survivors. I mean, the way I feel about things is anytime I've ever donated something to somebody, I always get it back some way. And if you're of that belief, then, by all means. But thank you, Cindy, if you want to do that, but don't break the bank.
Yeah, things are fixing to get pretty rough here. I just noticed gasoline is approaching $4 a gallon, and we're still running the winter blend, which is a cheaper blend, and they're fixing to change that here. I think at the end of April they're going to move to the summer blend, and it's more expensive to make that blend. So yeah, it'll top $4 after that. So the Democrats don't seem to be worried about fuel prices, so that means that they've got something planned, so there will not be an election this year. They've already, they're not worried about an election. They're just running full corrupt bore. So they're planning that if we go to war or something, there won't be an election. So yeah, they're already operating like they're not worried about the election, and they're already kind of trained the media that Joe Biden is now gaining momentum, and he's now leading Trump. That Trump's no longer ahead anymore. All this stuff. Yeah. Any of you people believe all this crap, man? I mean, God, I feel.
And he's also bringing in historians.
I mean, I got brain damage, but
he's bringing in historians to the White House to leave his mark in history about how great he was, and he's creating his own story, and that kind of tells me they're going to kind of remove him and put somebody else in there. I'm going to get me some popcorn and sit back, and I can't wait for this. This is going to be like the biggest, craziest election that's ever happened in history, in my opinion.
Well, this is the first time in history that the opposing party for running for presidency that spent all they do is spend every day trying to put Trump in prison, so he can't win the election. It's like every day, that's all you hear. Trump's going to court for this, Trump's going to court for that. And they're even bragging about it. We're going to break him. We're going to, it's sad.
Yeah, and they're getting away with it.
If they can do that to him, they can do that to you. I mean, God, Biden, when Jill left her husband, which they denied it happened like that, Jill left her husband, and then she didn't get what she wanted off of her husband, so Biden got him on tax evasion. Right after he stole his wife, he sent him after the husband for tax fraud or evasion.
In Craig's opinion,
whole thing's crazy. What?
In your opinion, just in case.
In my opinion, I saw that on.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep it politically correct because we want to make sure that the podcast goes out. So, yeah.
God, it's crazy.
Well, I guess everybody knows that we don't like liberals, and we aren't liberals, and so this isn't a liberal podcast. But we might lose our monetization on this. I don't know.
I can't say it was, both parties are corrupt. They're both
definitely,
they're both corrupt. I mean, all of them. The whole system's corrupt. It needs to start over. The whole
Yeah,
thing's corrupt. It
it's
has been for decades. It's been God, and that's why I say people are stupid for ever letting this. All this. How can all of us be so stupid to let all this happen? God, paying property tax and all. I mean, that's all you do. You pay tax for everything you do. You pay a tax. You can't do anything without paying a tax. It's crazy. That's what the Tea Party was all about. It's like, phew.
Yeah, I know I've got family members and friends and things, and and I start getting on a roll, and then they all have the same look on their face, like like I'm some kind of a weirdo for for talking about chemtrails and and all this corruption, and there's going to be a cancellation of the election, and they're all looking at me, but when it happens, then I'm not going to be so stupid like everybody thinks I am. So
I hope all y'all people got a bunch of food in storage, especially the way you people eat, man. You people don't have enough food stored up the last couple days the way you eat. Well, y'all better start learning how to eat.
They can live on their fat, Craig.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's harder to do than you think.
Yeah, go out and get your bunch of that.
They're addicted to eating. They're not. They're addicted to the act of eating, like a cigarette. Everything time something happens that they're not happy about, they're sticking a donate in their face. Nom nom nom. I feel better now.
Well, when you get think about this. Suppose you have a grid shut down, and you're living maybe even 2 hours away from a family member, and you're like me. I don't have many family members real close to me, and you can't call them on a cell phone, and it's weeks going by. You better start walking to go find, and you better have some water. You better have some food, because that could happen. I don't think that they would let it go on for too long, because it's a control thing, like with the COVID. It was all just to torture you a little bit, to get you to tighten up and straighten up. So, but
they have never been so desperate, though. I mean,
that's true.
They are out for blood now. They are out for total control. I was telling somebody the other day, I said, man, we lived the best, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. God, those were the best years to live ever, and now we're seeing we're going to witness the total destruction of this country.
It's
happened to we've seen it. We've seen the China Empire fail, the Roman empires fail. Every country on earth has at one time been at the top, and they've all folded, and that's what's happening to us. Look at Venezuela. They were the richest thing there was a few years ago, and what happened there is what's happening here, and people are too blind, stupid to see it.
Yeah, and all these people rolling over the border, and everybody's going,
it's an invasion.
Who cares?
Damn invasion.
Yeah, I'm telling you what.
I was listening to the radio today. Some teacher was forcing the girls in her class to pretend like they were boys.
And I saw that one teacher was putting dresses on the boys, and the father came in and caught them. And they're
people are sick, man. I mean, you people are sick.
It's satanic stuff, they're trying to.
God, what's wrong with you people?
And
Let
you
this
know, I
shit
mean,
happen.
well, anyway, so okay, Craig, I guess we can go ahead and wrap it up before we get canceled. I don't know what
Yeah, really. Yeah.
I don't think there's too many liberal Lynyrd Skynyrd people out there, but there might be.
Oh
So,
God Almighty! You just can't imagine. They're out there. It's
yeah,
crazy. It's crazy. They're out there. They're hiding. You
yeah.
know.
Well,
Now we got
we're gonna probably drop
cells. We
subscriptions.
got cells, man. There's cells out there now. They're just waiting for the word to attack. So, I don't think where I live it's going to be too prevalent, but some of you people, man, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, like me, I live right downtown.
And if it happens, Chad said he's on his way to Ohio.
But I'm a survivor. I don't know. I don't know about you people, but I always somehow I'll survive.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to live in Jacksonville when the shit hits the fan, that's for sure.
Yeah, I got a lot of lakes around here.
There's
I can
only
go
two ways.
fishing.
There's a lot of people going to try to leave, and there's only two ways out, man. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
All
So
right, let's
anyways,
wrap it up, Craig.
yeah, this has been another episode of the Stoned Roadie Show, starring your host, the most famous stoned roadie in the whole wide world that's still alive, Craig Reed, and my co-host, the rocket scientist, Griff Martin, and see you later, alligator, at the wild crocodile, and we're out of here. Cut.